Hello friends, I'm Beth with the National Portrait Gallery, and I want to welcome you to another Introducing Storytime, where we introduce you to the people and stories that have shaped this country. Today we are going to talk about veterans and this painting from our friends at the National Museum of the American Indian. But first, we're going to cover a few key terms. The first word we're going to discuss is war. When countries cannot agree on important issues, sometimes they go to war, meaning that they fight. These wars can last days or months or even years. The people who fight in wars are called soldiers. Soldiers leave behind their friends and family and travel far away because they want to help and protect their country. It's not easy for them to be far from home and to do dangerous things, but they do it because they want to help. When a soldier returns home, they become veterans. Every year on November 11th, we celebrate Veterans Day to say thank you to the people who have fought to protect our country. Today, I want to talk about a very specific group of veterans, American Indian veterans. American Indians are also known as Native Americans or Indigenous Americans, and these are broad terms that actually refer to many groups of people with their own unique cultures and customs and languages. Which brings us to this painting called The First Furlough by Navajo artist Quincy Tahoma. This was painted in 1943 during World War II, which was one of the major wars of the last 100 years. In this painting, we see a young man who's bending down with his arms open and a child who is running into his arms. Behind them, a woman looks on and smiles. They all have their arms open toward each other. Further in the distance, we see a small child running toward them with his hand in the air. We see here loved ones reuniting after a long time apart. It's an experience many of us understand. We recognize the outstretched arms, the smiling faces, and we know why they have these smiles. We know the happiness and the relief that they feel. Can you think of a time when you saw someone you loved after a long time apart? How did you feel? The clothing in this painting also tells us a little bit more about what's going on here. The man wears a green uniform, which tells us that he is a soldier. The other two people wear Navajo ceremonial clothing, which tells us that he is returning home to the Navajo Nation. Navajo soldiers were essential for the United States during World War II, not just as fighters, but as code talkers. Their language was used to send secret messages that only they, who spoke the Navajo language, could understand. This was important to keep soldiers safe, and it was also a crucial part of the U.S. victory during World War II. For all their service and sacrifice, Navajo soldiers faced racism and discrimination because they were American Indian. In this painting, however, we only see love. American Indian cultures, including the Navajos, recognize that returning home can be difficult for soldiers. It can be joyful, but it can also be hard because fighting in a war disrupts a soldier's life, family, and connection to home. Many American Indians hold ceremonies for returning veterans. A ceremony is a spiritual tradition that can include music, dancing, prayer, and other sacred elements. These ceremonies help to restore balance and well-being to a veteran's life. Here we see a soldier being welcomed home with hugs. but there are many ways to remember and thank the veterans who have fought for this country. I invite you to visit the National Museum of the American Indians website, Native Words, Native Warriors, for more information and resources to learn about American Indian soldiers. A great way to honor veterans is to share their stories. Thank you for joining today. I hope we see you again at another Introducing, where we share important stories of U.S. history. Thanks.